The Darling is a short story by Russian author Anton Chekhov, first published in 1899. Outline of the story. Olenka Plemyanniakov, the daughter of a retired collegiate assessor, falls in love with the theatre owner, Kukin. Olenka's father dies and she marries Kukin. The two of them live a happy married life. She soon takes over some of his roles in the box office by keeping accounts and the business end of some payments. During this time she becomes more involved in the business and acts like Kukin. Kukin travels to Moscow and dies. Olenka is given word of his death and mourns for 3 months. Olenka soon finds another man she becomes attached to, Vasily's Death, a merchant from a timber yard. After a few days she becomes infatuated by him and they marry. Olenka disregards all responsibilities of the theatre and concentrates on the opinions and thoughts of her new husband. The two of them live a comfortable life of casual talk and religious activities until Vasily becomes ill and dies from a prolonged cold. Shortly after Vasily's death, another man enters Olenka's life, Smirnin, a veterinary surgeon. Smirnin complains that he had left his wife and son because of her unfaithfulness. So he is offered the lodge to live in with Olenka until he is able to fix the situation. Olenka and Smirnin become involved with one another, but try to keep it a secret. This fails because Olenka talks to Smirnin's friends about the cattle, which embarrasses him. Smirnin leaves to travel to Moscow and is gone for months. During this time Olenka cannot think of anything independently from her husband or predominant male figure, and is unable to create an opinion. Smirnin finally returns and states that he has started working again as a veterinary, because his son is now at the age of attending school and that he has reconciled with his wife. Smirnin's family moves into the lodge that Olenka offers to them. Olenka soon becomes obsessed with the son, Sarsia. She follows him to school and confesses that she loved him. Never had her soul surrender to any feeling so spontaneously. The final line in the short story is a quote from a sleeping Sarsia. "I'll give it to you, get away. Shut up." Summary of the story. The story opens with Olenka sitting at the back doorstep of her house as rain clouds roll in. She's listening to Kukin, the owner of the open-air theatre the Tivoli, complain about how the weather is ruining his business. Olenka listens, growing more affectionate for Kukin the more he prattles on. She falls in love with Kukin and they marry after her father's death. Olenka and Kukin lead a comfortable happy life. Olenka starts to work at the Tivoli, soon adopting all of Kukin's opinions and becoming preoccupied with the theatre. Kukin eventually leaves to Moscow to recruit a troupe for his theatre, and Olenka anxiously awaits his return. But she receives a telegram that Kukin has been detained and, shortly after, another one stating that he has died. While mourning, Olenka meets Vasily'S Death, a lumber merchant. It does not take Olenka long to fall in love with him and promptly marry him. Olenka and Death live happily together, spending their time either preoccupied with the lumber business or enjoying a materially comfortable home life. Olenka absorbs all of her husband's ideas about business and religion, and becomes totally obsessed with lumber. On one winter day, Death goes to the lumber yard too soon after drinking hot tea, promptly falling ill. After 4 months of fighting off the sickness, Death dies, leaving Olenka alone yet again. Olenka is much more reclusive after Death's death, and mourns in solitude for 6 months. She slowly builds a rapport with Smirnin, a military veterinary surgeon who is lodging in her house, and can be seen drinking tea with him as he reads her the news. Like with all the previous men in her life, Olenka begins to grow fascinated with Smirnin's work and absorbs all manner of his opinions. Yet their relationship cannot blossom since Smirnin is married to a woman he's estranged from, and together they have a young son. Soon enough, Smirnin is transferred by the military. With no man in her life, Olenka sinks into a deep depression and finds herself in an odd predicament. With no one around her spouting ideas and opinions, she finds that she has none whatsoever, even about the smallest objects or the weather. She is totally blank. She finds herself attracting less attention around town, and only growing more isolated. One day, Smirnin returns to the town with his wife, who he has reconciled with, and his son, Sasha. He tells Olenka they need a place to live, and Olenka welcomes them to lodge in her house. After some time, Smirnin's wife leaves for Kharkov to live with her sister for good. And Smirnin himself grows occupied with the town's nightlife and social happenings. Olenka decides to take a more active role in Sasha's upbringing, with the boy's parents having practically abandoned him, and Olenka develops a maternal relationship with the boy. In an ironic inversion of her relationship with the other men in her life, Olenka starts to absorb all of Sasha's opinions and ideas about his school. But this time her obsession resembles that of a doting mother. Nonetheless, as many small boys do, Sasha starts to feel suffocated by the attention. The story ends with him crying out a protest against Olenka's closeness and constant attention in his sleep. End of the summary. Thank you.